Thank you, Dr. Tessia Lavigne, for your very kind introduction and the gracious welcome that you have given me here at Rockefeller University. This is a very inspiring venue, a venue where men and women in science come together in the pursuit of excellence in the service of humanity. And I want to especially congratulate you for having a program for women in science. Some 40% of your faculty staff are women, and that is, I have to say, impressive. The dedicated support that you extend to the advancement of women scientists, the fact that you see here at Rockefeller women as national and international agents of change is an inspiring best practice. We sure have come a long way since those days when Pierre Curie had to insist to the Nobel Prize in Physics offered to him and to Henry Becquerel would not be accepted unless his wife shared in it. But so much more remains to be done. Thinking on this remarks, I found out that this happened that way. Because when I was a child, I decided to go into biomedicine because I read about Marie Curie, but I never knew it was so hard for her to get the Nobel Prize. Well, achievements and programs like yours are key, and yet all too often they are the exception rather than the norm in the world. So it's a privilege and an honor to spend this evening in your company. I thank the members of the Pearl Meister Greengard Prize Selection Committee for inviting me to participate in the presentation of this award. And I would like to commend particularly Ursula von Riedensbart and Professor Dr. Paul Greengard for establishing this so significant award. Thank you for recognizing the need for such a prize. Today, deeply rooted attitudes and beliefs continue to guide women away from the pursuit of excellence in science. In establishing this prize, you showed more than vision. You showed deep generosity when you decide to help move women from the margins of the scientific enterprise to the center where they belong. Tonight, we dedicate this award to Dr. Brenda Milner. Dr. Milner, I'm very happy to participate in this moment of your life. Please accept my congratulations to you on the recognition to your important work. You have inspired countless men and women. Your path-breaking work in neuroscience no doubt helped and will continue to help countless people around the world. Not only are you an exceptional scientist, you stand out as a great women pioneer of our times. Your stamina, integrity, and curiosity, coupled with your courage, generosity, humility, and perseverance, make you a role model for generations of women and women scientists to come. I am told that wherever you go, young people flock to you. And I'm not surprised, because role models and mentors like you are so needed today. You combine the rigors of scientific inquiry with the compassion of the humanities. And this makes you a woman of the brain, but also of the heart, a combination that is truly needed to overcome the challenges we face in our complex and interdependent world. As you know, as you have heard from Dr. Tessier, I am a medical doctor by background. As a young physician, I took the Hippocratic Oath. This oath contains a sentence relevant way beyond the confines of the world of the physician. It says, and I will quote, "I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body as well as the infirm," end of quote. And life gradually led me onto a path in public life and public policies. Yet it is a path guided by, as the oath says, that special obligation we all have towards our fellow human beings, same obligation that Rockefeller University has. Right now, this path has bestowed on me the responsibility of being the founding executive director for this UN Women, this new entity for gender equality and women's empowerment of the United Nations. And before I talk about that, let me go back for a moment in time. In 1918, the year Dr. Milner was born, the world population was 1.8 billion, and an influenza epidemic incapacitated 1 billion and killed 20 million people, all this within the space of 8 weeks. Most of the people who died were in their 30s. Dr. Milner was born in a country just experiencing the end of the First World War. It was women who had worked in munitions and kept farms going during the war, and for this the women expected something in return from the government. In response, the 1918 Representation of the People Act gave property-ed women over 30 years of age the right to vote. Today, women can now vote virtually everywhere. Virtually. There's one or two countries where that's still not possible. I mention this because that was when you were born. Now, this week, we also reached the 7 billion mark in world population, and it was a girl. Well, every country is fighting where it was, but I'm sure it was a girl anywhere. Our planet that we all share is now host to the largest generation of women and girls ever born. Because if we just think on a special group, women on 10 to 24 years old, we are counting more than 850 million girls and young women. But despite enormous progress, including tremendous scientific advances, the reality for women remains one characterized by inequality. Far too many women and girls, for far too many women and girls, the reality is physical violence or sexual trafficking, lack of education or employment, underrepresentation at executive levels, lack of access to health and HIV/AIDS prevention and care, basic human rights violation, and of course, political underrepresentation. Women continue to suffer all sorts of discrimination, and disparities persist. So it is incumbent on all of us to ask, what kind of world will our children inherit? What kind of world will their children be born into? How will they lead the next generation? Who will girls and young women, boys and young men, look to as role models and mentors? Too often still, in many parts of the world, women cannot make their own decisions about their body, about their life, and their voices is silent or silenced. Statistics show us how far we are from gender equality. Of the estimated 1.3 billion poor in the world, more than 60% are women. Of the estimated 780 million illiterates in the world, about 65% are women. Up to 6 out of every 10 women experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Women work 2/3 of the world's working hours and produce half of the world's food, yet earn only 10% of the world's income and own less than 1% of the world's property. Only 1 in 4 senior officials or managers is a woman. In 2010, less than 10% of elected head of states of governments are women or were women. On average, women hold 16% of ministerial posts and 19% of seats in parliament. And in the sciences throughout the world, only a handful of women preside over a national science academy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, women represent not only half of the world population, but also a tremendous untapped potential from which their community, society, and entire nations can benefit. We already know that many industrialized economies will soon face shortages of scientists and engineers. In the decades to come, people who master science will change the world to a large extent. And for this reason and more, it is so important to fully tap human potential of both men and women. So far, 2011 has indeed been a challenging, but also a groundbreaking year for women. We have seen the protests from North Africa and the Middle East, and we have seen women over there. And of course, we just knew about the award of the Nobel Peace Prize to 3 women who stand up for peace and democracy. And while that is progress, and the past century has brought deep transformation of women's legal rights, most of the laws continue to exist only on paper. They still do not translate to equality and justice for too many women. It was against this background that UN Women was created in 2010, but we were formally born the 1st of January this year. And tonight's award was created to bring women from the margins of the scientific enterprise to the center where they belong. UN Women was created to drive greater progress in gender equality and the empowerment of women. So that's why for me it was so important to be here tonight, because I saw this linkage between these UN Women and your award in the same track, in the same direction. Together with partners worldwide, we are working to advance women's economic empowerment, political participation, and leadership, because I believe that in order to have rights can be achieved, you need to be relevant, you need to be powerful, and women need to be powerful and relevant. But we also work to end violence against women, to make gender equality a priority in national plans and budget, and to make sure that women enjoy full participation in peacemaking, peace building, and reconstruction of the countries. But in order to achieve this, we will need many Brenda Milners in this world. We will need many men and women like Ursula Riedingsbach and Paul Greengard. Indeed, a peaceful, more just world founded on dignity and respect for each human being cannot be achieved if 50% of the population is excluded. And once more, science gives us a beautiful insight here. It became evident to Dr. Milner and others that each hemisphere of the brain acting alone was severely handicapped on memory and other vital tasks and functions. So what did she do? She used her excitement and curiosity to further explore how the two hemispheres work together both in health and disease in a holistic manner. And this is the same for us, all of us in UN Women. What drives us forward? It is knowing that equality between men and women is a matter of human rights, but it's also much more. Gender equality is a condition for social justice. It is necessary and fundamental prerequisite for democracy, peace, and development for all. And having said that, we also know that achieving this equality will require a stamina akin to the one shown to us to Dr. Milner. Stamina shown to us by Dr. Milner. Sustained and long-term commitment will be essential so that women and men can work together for themselves, for their children, for society to meet the challenges of our century and beyond. Just as you, at Rockefeller University, help women scientists to move ahead, and I really commend you for that, we all must work together so that women have equal access to all educational, economic, social, cultural, and political opportunities. Including the other half of the world on equal footing is the only way to face the challenges that the entire planet is facing and will increasingly be faced with in the 21st century. And recent events are telling in this regard. So let me close with words pronounced long ago, but so relevant to our times, and I will quote, "And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. Is the life in your years. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. It is the words that speak boldly of your intentions, and the actions which speak louder than the words. It is making the time when there's none, coming through time after time after time, year after year after year. Commitment is the stuff character is made of, the power to change the face of things. It is the daily triumph of integrity over skepticism." And it was said by Abraham Lincoln, 16th President of the United States. Dr. Milner, you show commitment, you show action. You know it makes a team to advance. It takes men and women. Let us all live up to the high standard you set for all of us. Thank you very much.